Yeah, I think NOLS definitely was probably where I got more like mindful education of leadership. I think, like leadership can be learned. And I think people either think I'm a leader or I'm not. People that are in designated leadership roles, which are like bosses and whatever, like some people suck at those roles, right? Like just because you get put in that job doesn't mean you're good at it.
I've seen many times the wrong person gets put, and it's
Hmm.
tragic
Yeah, it's tragic and it's really
because
hard.
they don't want to be there. Usually,
Yeah,
sometimes they just do it because
more
they're
money.
failing up or it's more money.
Yeah, or they get promoted and they don't want to. A lot of people like are striving for that, and they're but you obviously it doesn't necessarily just because you're in a designated leadership role doesn't mean you're good at it. So, and a lot of people think, oh, I'm not a natural leader, I can never learn it, and that's not true. I think there are a lot of things about leadership that can be learned, and that's like one of the basis of NOLS and why the school was started was like teaching people how to be a good leader. Um, One of the cool things about the NOLS leadership model, and everyone, there's lots of people out there teaching leadership, but like there are different leadership roles. So like everyone thinks of what's a leader, and it's like the person in charge, right? And that's a designated leader. And then in the NOLS model, there's active follower, which basically means like you can be a leader by being a good follower. And this is thinking if you're like in a group setting where
Mm-hmm.
you're, you know, like maybe it's a work team or it's a family like unit or it's a sports team or whatever. But you can be a really you can show leadership by being a supportive follower, and getting on board or like seeing things that needs to be done to support the leader's vision, things like that. That's leadership as well. You can be you can show leadership by being a peer leader. So a lot of times when there's a group and there's no one in charge, you're all peers at the same sort of level. Often like this shows up when you're on a trip and there's no like person that planned the trip and you're just a bunch of friends. But you can be a leader, like you can show leadership in a peer setting again by mostly by supporting people and getting on board with the group's vision, or by maybe you take a leadership role for that day, but by being a group without a designated leader. And then you can also show leadership by being a good self leader. So self leadership, which is basically like taking responsibility for your own actions, like trying to improve, like showing growth, showing up for yourself and for others. So there's a lot of different ways that leadership appears. And again, I think a lot of people think about leadership in like the person that's out front with the loudest voice.
Mm-hmm.
And even in a designated leadership role, some of the best leaders in that role aren't the people that are like telling others what to do all the time. They're the ones like potentially asking the right questions or facilitating a group um, in the right way that the people in their group feel empowered to step up and add opinions or give like take on responsibilities, and they're like delegating things to people rather than doing it all themselves or
Yeah.
just doling out you know
Yeah.
directions to people. And I'm sure like in a work environment, you've probably seen good and bad leadership or managers, but like the person that's telling everyone to do and how to do it all the time usually isn't the greatest leader.
Yeah.
Like no one wants to be micromanaged,
Right.
right? So anyway, like I think leadership is a really cool topic. It's cool to it's neat to be able to teach it and have real life experiences to do that. Like it's really, teaching leadership in a classroom setting, like in a university where you're just sitting in a room and someone's talking at you and you're sharing examples, is really different from teaching leadership when like you're out in the backcountry and a storm comes in and you get to camp and someone's injured and there wasn't water at camp where you thought you were going to be, and you're having to like figure out how to take care of people, keep everyone safe, manage like all the logistics and keep everyone fed and warm and dry and